if you're planning on doing a webinar, then this video is going to be the last video that you're going to be watching, because I'm not only going to share with you the psychological aspects of doing a webinar, but I'm also going to share with you all the technicalities. What are the things that you would need in the backend, the funnel, the email automations, and so on and so forth. But also, I'm going to give you something. If you stay till the end, I'm going to share with you one link that will give you the entire funnel, the entire automations, the emails, the SMS templates, everything in just one click. So absolutely for free. Okay, so watch this till the end, and once you get the value, do subscribe my channel, and also put the comment in the comment section if you got value from this. Okay, so welcome to day 33 of the offer turnover challenge. If you have no idea what we are doing over here, is that we are converting some negative ROAS offers to positive ROAS. What that basically means, I recently got inside this particular project where we are managing a lot of different offers that are running on Meta ads, and most of these offers are actually losing money. So my goal over this 60 days is to convert those losing money offers to making money offers, so that we can actually take some money home. And one of the projects that I managed today, I was working on a particular webinar, so I wanted to make this entire video around how we strategize webinars, what are the technicalities, the psychological aspects behind it. So I just wanted to put that inside this video, so make sure you stick till the end. Okay, and without much ado, let's dive inside of day 33. Okay, so how this video works, all this challenge video, is that I discuss all the things that we did for the day for different particular clients, right? So EC is a client, LM is a client, HD is a client, and then GWPF, all of them are individual clients, and we did a lot of different things for them. So where I'm going to talk about the webinar stuff is going to be EC. That's the first thing we are going to be discussing today. And then I'm also going to be talking about LM, where we did a deep dive for him. And also deep dive basically means I look at the data for the Meta ads that we have been running for them for like past 7 days or 14 days, and based on then that I make a decision that what needs to be changed, what are the how to improve the conversion rates, and so on and so forth, right? And then for H3 we did a strategy shift, and then GW also a deep dive, and then for PF we also had a strategy shift. Okay, so let's dive inside of the first one, where we are going to talk about the webinar. Let's go to D17 and then EC. All right, so EC had some next step clarification. Our team wanted to understand how to do a webinar, like what needs to be done now that we have gotten a few people to register for the webinar, how it works, right? So 2 days ago I did a deep dive on them, and then I shared with them the insights. So like we had 24 registrations for this particular webinar, but then I shared that these numbers are very low, and the cost per registration was like $13 to $82, $13.82, right? So this was too high, but the ideal cost is $1 to $10 per registration for a free webinar, and then the CTR must be 5 to 10%. However, over here we had a CTR of like 2.16, so that wasn't working well. So based on that, after we have gotten some registrations, now our team wanted some clarification on what to do next, right? So EC is in a really interesting niche. She's actually an ads coach, right? And then the webinar funnel we are running for her is basically registration page, and then people go to a confirmation page after they register for the webinar, and then they show up on the webinar, we pitch our offer, right? So what I shared with them, now that we have some registrations, all we need to do is just complete the webinar, right? Take the class and then pitch the offer in the end. Then we are going to decide the next webinar's time, and then we will launch the new graphics ad. So basically I suggested them that we are going to be running only graphic ads for the webinar, because the video ads are not performing well, and I have never run video ads before for webinars. That's why the like this particular offer wasn't working very well, and then the cost per lead was really high. Now just to give you some context, like I have gotten inside this particular project like recently, and this particular offer was running on for a while, so that's why I wasn't there when this was launched. But then now that I have come in, I suggested that let's move to the graphic ads for the next webinar, right? So we will only use graphic ads for the next webinar. So let's talk about how we set up webinars absolutely from scratch. Okay, so this is going to be a crash course. Make sure you take notes, pause the videos, pause the video in between. Whenever you need any kind of clarifications, drop them in the comments. I would love to answer the questions. But yeah, this is how exactly we set up webinars. Okay, so the first step of any webinar is to just ideate the webinar topic, right? Before we do anything else, before we create the funnel, before we create the email automations, before we write any kind of copy, we talk about the webinar topic, right? That's the first step. First is we need to ideate the webinar topic. Now what we do is like we simply follow Russell Brunson's perfect webinar secrets framework, right? So if you have no idea about perfect webinar secrets, so this is a program run by Russell Brunson, right? and this is only $7. You can go ahead and buy this. I do not have any kind of affiliate links with him, but this is one of the best trainings on how to do webinars. Like, this is one of the best offers that I have learned how to do webinars from, and that's exactly how we strategize the webinar. So just to give you a little bit just about how the topic actually works, is that the entire 120 minutes webinar, so like an ideal webinar length is 120 minutes, right? So the first 15 minutes of the webinar goes into talking about the attractive character. So the attractive character is basically you who has already done the thing that most of the people are going to come to the webinar to learn. So for example, if you have already made $10,000 and you're going to create a webinar on how to make $10,000, then the attractive, you being the attractive character, you must know how to make the $10,000, and you would have already made it. That's why you're going to teach somebody else to it, right? So you're going to talk about your journey in this attractive character, where you're going to be talking about how, where you were before you got this epiphany of doing this particular thing, because of which you landed your first $10,000 gig, right? So that's just an example. So in the first 15 minutes, you're going to talk about how you got the epiphany on this particular vehicle, right? And how your transformation looked like, where you were before and where you are right now, right? So that is where we talk about the attractive character. Then comes the vehicle. The next 15 minutes goes inside of talking about the vehicle. This is secret number one. So there are basically 3 secrets in every webinar, right? So the entire webinar like topic is divided into 3 parts. The first part is where we talk about the vehicle. Vehicle basically is your personalized framework on how to achieve the result. So for example, my way of making $10,000 is going to be different than your way of making $10,000. You can make $10,000 through e-commerce, through creating an e-commerce brand, right? And then my way would be to sell a $10,000 service, like that's like my way of making $10,000. Then there will be someone else who is doing affiliate marketing, so they are going to be making $10,000 from affiliate marketing. So everybody has their own unique framework, right? And that framework is the vehicle. Now once you have talked about how you got from point A to point B yourself, now people believe that you are the one who can coach them on this. And then you talk about what is that vehicle. You make people believe that the vehicle is the thing that made it super easy for you to go ahead and make $10,000. You know what I mean? So what is your unique framework? That's what we are going to be talking about in the next 15 minutes. That is secret number one. So if the secret one can be looking like, hey, how this one thing got me to $10,000 without creating any kind of product or having zero knowledge. So that's secret number one, right? So this is basically something that we put as after the topic of the webinar. Like once we decide, okay, this is the title of the webinar. Now this is the secret number one, how this one thing got you to, let's say, $10,000 per month without having to create any kind of products, right? So the secret one. Then comes the internal belief, which is next 15 minutes, right? So this is where we talk about like what is it now that they believe that you are the one who can teach them on this particular topic, and then they believe that this particular vehicle can take them to $10,000 like very very easily, but I don't know if I can do it. So this is some kind of internal beliefs that people have, because of which they cannot like move forward with utilizing your way or your vehicle. So this internal belief is about the vehicle. So for example, I don't know if I can do affiliate marketing. I have tried that before and I have failed, right? So everybody else can do it, but I don't know if I can do it. So that is an internal belief, right? So you need to address that. So how do we address it as a secret? So we are going to just give it a title and say how anybody, how a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old can go ahead and apply this one thing and make $10,000 over the next 6 weeks. You see, like that's secret number 2, right? That's the internal belief. That's addressing the internal belief, because most of the people will already be thinking about it. So if you don't address it, they are not going to buy it towards the end, right? Then comes the next 15 minutes where we are going to be talking about the external belief. The external belief is something outside of their control that will be holding them back from applying your vehicle. So for example, if I'm saying that I'm an affiliate marketing coach, but I have also tried affiliate marketing. So in the first 45 minutes, I know that you can help me do the affiliate marketing, and affiliate marketing is a way of making $10,000, and then I know I can do it as well because it's so easy to do. But then the external belief is that I don't know how to get traffic to my funnel. I'm not a technical person, right? So all of these are external beliefs that would hold people back from moving forward. So then in the last 15 minutes of the first hour, you're just going to talk about how easy it is to get traffic to a funnel, right? So as simple as that. So this next secret will be how we can go ahead and get unlimited landing page views, and that will be converting your affiliate offer, something like that, right? So this entire thing, the attractive character, vehicle, internal belief, external belief, is the webinar's main idea, or the main topic that we will be giving value on, right? So this is the entire information part in the first 60 minutes. We just go ahead and give extremely valuable stuff within this first 60 minutes, where they are going to be convinced that not only you can help them, but they can do it themselves, and this particular vehicle is going to help them get to the results much faster. And then finally, they can get the traffic, or all the external beliefs are also cracked over here, right? So the first 60 minutes, they're convinced with your offer, with you, right? With you and your vehicle. This is the main thing, right? Once they're convinced with you and the vehicle, now it's only a matter of convincing them over the offer. So that's where the next 30 minutes goes into. So instead of a webinar, you go ahead and create an offer, right? So let's just say that you have a coaching program, and you have created an entire stack of what they're going to get when they join the coaching program. So let's say, let's also take the example of the affiliate marketing thing that we were talking about, and we simply just say, hey, we are going to be creating a course, like over the next 10 weeks we are going to reach $10,000. This is a coaching program. We are going to be working personally with you, one-on-one, or maybe in a group coaching format, and then we are going to do weekly calls where we are going to help you go to $10,000 by the end of these 10 weeks. And then also, after the 10 weeks are complete, we are going to provide you support for another 12 weeks. So now, like, you have all of this stack. You are giving the course, you are also giving the coaching calls, you are also giving, let's say, 5 different bonuses to go with it. So this becomes an entire stack basically means stacking one item over another, so that the value looks extremely high. So what most of the people do is that they simply go ahead and read the value, right? Or they think that, I don't know if people will be okay with me going ahead and doing the entire pitch, because I mean, like, going through one thing and then the other thing, and then doing the stack over and over again. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not just a marketing tactic, it's basically something that works, right? Every single time. So I'll give you an example. Russell Brunson does this a lot, right? Value stacking basically means when you go through first part of your stack. Let's say you have 8 items in the stack, right? So the first 2 are your coaching program, and then you have bonus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So all of this stacked over your coaching program. Now, the stack basically is where we go ahead and talk about the first thing, how that is going to help them, right? We talk about why that is important, and then we stack it. We just mentioned this is the first thing you're going to get. And then we go on and talk about the next thing. And then we go ahead and stack the second thing over the first thing, because there will be another slide where we say, so you're going to get this coaching program, plus you're also going to get this. So the value of the coaching program is $997, and the value of this particular bonus is, let's say, $97, right? So that's there. Now both of this stacked onto one another. Then you go on and talk about the third thing, right? And why that the third thing is important, how the third thing is actually going to help them. And then what you do is you go ahead and duplicate the slide that you had, and you stack on the third thing over the first 2 things. So you say you're going to get the coaching program, the value of this is this, and then you're going to get this second thing, the value of that is this, and then you're going to also get this third thing, the value of this is this, right? And then you go on and do this, like sharing why the fourth bonus is important, and then you stack it up over the 3. Now it does seem like it's repeating, and then it's like, how do I put it? It seems like it's a lot, and people will be frustrated by it. But what it is actually doing is that it's helping people understand that they are not just getting one thing, or 10 different things, but they are actually understanding why each one of those things is important. Even if we think it's really hard to talk about the same thing over and over again, but then at the end of the day, in the people's mind, they're going to think that, hey, I'm getting all of this stuff, and when it's time for you to reveal the price, they are already convinced with your offer, right? So that's why it takes 30 minutes to do this entire stuff. So the next 30 minutes goes inside of your pitch, where you go ahead and stack things up. Okay, now once you have stacked things up, the next 30 minutes goes into the Q&A. So the Q&A is basically where people can ask you questions, not only about the program but also about what they learned inside of the entire inside the entire webinar. So let's say for affiliate marketing, if they have any kind of questions about the vehicle, about the internal belief or the external belief, how to get traffic and so on and so forth, they can ask you questions. So throughout the webinar, you're just going to go ahead and tell them that, hey, I will have an extra 30 minutes towards the end to answer all of your questions. So keep putting your questions down in the comment section, and I'm going to come to this after the webinar is complete. So you keep doing that throughout the webinar while you're going through the material, so that when towards the end, after you have pitched the offer, when people still stay there and ask you questions, right, or they are there just for the Q&A session, you know that most of these people have already heard the pitch, right? So if you can convince in the Q&A that, okay, this is amazing, you just share with them all the answers, they are absolutely like valued by it. I mean, they love the value that you have provided in the past few minutes, then you have a lot of sales. Okay, so that's where the 120-minute breakdown goes, right? And then throughout the webinar, another thing I would say on this is that throughout the webinar, the main idea is for you to engage people, right? Engage people throughout the pitch. You have to engage people throughout the webinar. By engaging people, I mean you can simply ask people, hey, is this making sense to you? Comment me if it is making sense. Or how many of you feel like this is it, right? How many of you felt like this before, right? So even in the pitch, when you are stacking the bonuses, don't just keep talking, right? Just ask people throughout the pitch as well, hey, how many of you think that bringing traffic to the webinar or the landing page is really really difficult and you have no idea how to do that, right? Type me in the chat. And then if people are also engaging in the pitch, the conversion is going to be super super high. The reason is when people have a conversation with you, like all of this is a kind of a conversation, right? When people have a conversation with you, it makes it very easy for you to particularly sell any kind of offer that you have got, right? So engage people throughout the pitch as well. Now when you're doing the pitch and you're engaging people, the other ones who are staying silent are seeing that people are engaging, people are interested in this as well. So it, like, they will have FOMO of going ahead and buying it. Okay, so I'm going to talk about more about that later on, but then let's talk about how to ideate the title of the webinar, right? So the first thing that we are going to do is like finalize the topic. Okay, once we have finalized the topic, then we go ahead and break down the attractive character, vehicle, internal and external belief, and the three secrets topics. Okay, so all these three secrets are individual topics that we are going to be covering in the webinar. So let's say the webinar is called how to make $10,000 without creating your own product, right? So let's just say that is the webinar topic, and then we talk about how this one thing, like the webinar vehicle, is the secret number one. And then we talk about how this one thing made me $1 million in 90 days or whatever it is, right? And then because that one thing is the vehicle, right? So in the first attractive character story, you go ahead and talk about how you made $1 million, and then you share with them how you did that, what is that one thing that allowed you to do that. So you see how everything is syncing together. Now that's a vehicle and the next internal belief and the external belief, right? So you have to type the topics down for each one of them after you have finalized the title. So here's a quick hack for the title. You see, move people away from pain rather than towards pleasure. You see, all of the marketing that you're going to do for your webinar is going to be to a cold traffic. Cold traffic basically means someone who doesn't know you, or this is the first time they're seeing your ad, right? They haven't gotten a chance to get familiar with you. Say they simply saw your ad, went to the landing page, and they are going to register for your webinar. And then what happens is that for them, you are still a stranger. But if you are helping people move towards pleasure, which basically means you're making them $1 million, or you're helping them cure any kind of diseases and all of that. So what it does is, like, it shows people that people just have this mindset that, hey, this particular person is going to help me on something. I don't know if that is true. Now just think about this in a way that, hey, you are walking through the streets, right? And there's this person who has $100 bill, and then he's just going to give you that $100 bill. Or let's say he has a stack of $10,000, right? And he's going to help you with the $10,000, and absolutely for free. He's just going to give it to you. Now what is the first thing that is going to come to your mind? That he's a scammer, right? I mean, he's just scamming you, because you don't know him. Why is he going to give you $10,000 for what? So However, let's take the same scenario and you are walking through the road and then you hit your head somewhere and then you're bleeding, right? The same person is going to come to you and ask for your phone, right, to call the ambulance, right? And then you are going to open up the phone for them so that they can actually call the ambulance. Why? Because you are in a bleeding pain, you want some solution for that, right? You want to be cured, you don't want to bleed. That's why you're going to give, like, trust a stranger then, right? And just have them get a, like, call an ambulance. So people don't trust people who promise the world for them, even when they do not know them, right? However, people would trust people to get them out of a particular pain even if they don't know them. This is how just psychology works, and this is something that I learned from Myron Golden. He's one of the best coaches, like he's my business coach as well. So this is an amazing concept. Once you understand this, the webinar conversions are going to go through the roofs. So how this is framed is that, let's say, here's an example, right? So let's say the webinar topic is called like affiliate dominance workshop, right? How to crack $100,000 per month in affiliate sales using a bridge funnel and paid ads. Okay, so let's say this is the topic of the webinar that you decided. Now this is moving people towards pleasure, right? You're gonna help them make $100,000. But instead, say that it's affiliate scale workshop. This workshop reveals the one stupidly simple funnel shift that is keeping you from hitting $100,000 per month in affiliate sales. Now you see, I'm not even really revealing what the funnel is, right? What the funnel type is, which is bridge funnel, right? And I'm also showing them that it is keeping you from hitting the $100,000. I'm not going to make you $100,000, but this one thing is actually keeping you from making that. So it is helping people move away from pain rather than towards pleasure. Plus, it builds curiosity as well. You see, most of the webinars conversions crack down when they reveal what they are going to be teaching on the webinar. So there is no point in showing up for the webinar. If you say that this is an affiliate marketing workshop, and then most people are going to just know, hey, I mean, this is an affiliate marketing workshop. There's nothing new. Why would I join this, right? But then if you have some kind of curiosity in the title of the webinar itself, that makes people show up for the webinar to even figure out what this is in the first place. Even if they cannot make it to the live webinar, they're going to show up on the replay, right? So this is the webinar, this is the title hack that you can absolutely use to not only create curiosity but have more registrations come in by simply moving people away from pain rather than towards pleasure. Okay, then the second thing is the subtitle hack. The subtitle hack is basically something that goes below the title. Okay, this is something that gets people to understand that it is not the usual stuff that you have already been like trying to figure out. So for example, if you're looking to do weight loss, right, what is the most obvious thing that will come to your mind? I have to cut up my diet, right? I have to cut up my favorite foods. I have to exercise more and all of that. So that's the most obvious thing. So if I'm doing a webinar on how to lose weight, then I'm gonna just say that how to lose webinar, how to lose, or maybe if I'm moving people away from pain, I'm just gonna say how doing this one thing is keeping you 100 pounds overweight, right? And then I'm gonna say do this to not to lose weight instantly, and then I'm gonna say without sacrificing your diet, without exercising more than 10 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever it is. Like, so the most obvious things goes in the subtitle, right? So for this particular example, for the affiliate marketing thing, we're gonna say this is absolutely not about increasing traffic, being on podcasts, launching multiple affiliate offers, or hiring more team members. So the most obvious things that goes inside of understanding like what people would think that this particular affiliate scaling webinar would be about. Okay, so doing this alone, once you figure out the webinar topic, you break down the 3 secrets, and then you come up with a really good title and subtitle. This is your majority of the work. I would say like 50% of your work is completed just by doing this. I wouldn't say 50%, I would say 75% of your work is done here. Okay, now it's only small things that you need to do and you're good to go. Okay, the next thing that we are going to be doing in a webinar is to create a webinar funnel. Now a webinar funnel, most of the people make a mistake that they think that they have to write like a long page copy in order to create a webinar funnel. You have to write about everything that this webinar is going to talk about. Like especially when the seat is free, you have to realize you don't need anything but showing people what the webinar is going to be about, the title, and then what are the 3 things they are going to be learning, and then why you are doing this, like why are you so qualified to do this. So the webinar funnel structure is very simple, like it's very simple. The first thing is webinar registration page, where people can go ahead and register for your webinar, where they can put in name, email address and phone number. And then comes the confirmation page. The confirmation page is where they go to after they have completed the registration, right? So for offer checkout, so you will be saying like, hey Musahid, like where will people sign up for our programs? Now it is going to be inside of our like when we go to the webinar and we are pitching the offer, we can just simply send them a Stripe link where they can buy the particular offer. So whether it's $997, $1,997, if it's less than 2,000, you can easily sell it on the webinar, right? $2,000. So you can definitely do that just by creating a Stripe checkout link. As simple as that. You don't need to create an entire page for it. Just have all the deliverables in there on the Stripe checkout, and then you can simply send that link while you're on the webinar. As simple as that. You don't need to create a separate funnel. But yeah, Bereha. The main page here is the webinar registration page where the signups are going to happen. And this particular page includes three things and three things only. Do not have any other thing to distract people, to not or to try to convince people into getting inside of your webinar. You see, you're doing a free webinar. You're not doing a paid webinar where you have to convince people why this webinar is worth investing in, right? So this is a free webinar. The shorter the copy, the better the conversions. Okay, so the three sections that goes inside the webinar registration page are the hero section, and the description section, and the speaker section. The hero section is where we just share the title of the webinar, like what this particular webinar is going to be about, and then the subtitle. Okay, and then just below that we go ahead and type in the date and time the webinar is going to be happening, and then below that we just have a button, right? Just as simple as that. That's the hero section that's done, so that people know when this webinar is going to be happening. And then at the same time, when they click on the button, they can go ahead and register for the webinar, right? Because like putting the time on the webinar registration page is very important, because most of the people, even if they register out of curiosity, they wouldn't know when to show up. So it's really important we put the date and time on the webinar registration page itself, so that they know if they can actually make it on time. You see, registrations don't mean anything if they do not show up for the webinar, right? So even if even if you will get lesser conversion if people cannot show up on that particular time, but when people register for your webinar, knowing that this is the time for the webinar, they can go ahead and register. Like they can, if they still go ahead and register, that would mean they are actually going to show up, right? But then for a lot of different reasons they don't. The ideal show up rate I'm going to discuss later on, but then yeah, this is the format of the hero section. We are going to have the title, subtitle, timing, and a button. Okay, now the pop-up is where the offer, like the registration, is going to be. So we are going to write in pop-up, where we are going to collect name, email address, and a phone number. Okay, so these are the three things that we will be collecting from people, so that we can send them SMS reminders as well as email reminders. And then the description section is where we give them the three secrets. So we are going to say, here are the three lessons you're going to learn on the webinar, and then we just type the topics of the three secrets. That's it, as simple as that. And then in the speaker section, you just share why you're credible enough to teach on this particular topic. So for example, meet your coach, right? That's a particular section's title. And then you're going to write your name, MD Muzahid Khan, and then I'm just going to share why I am valid, why I have the credibility to go ahead and teach around this topic. So I have done webinars where people have made a lot of money, or I have done challenges where people have made 6 figures, right? And I just share all the credibility in there for that particular thing. So let me give you an example. Most of the people, what they do is like they just type in for the credibility a lot of different stuff, right? All the awards that you have won, none of that matters. But why does it matter for this particular topic? Only that goes inside of that particular section. So for example, if you're teaching people on affiliate marketing, why are you a credible person to teach on affiliate? That's what goes inside of this particular section, rather than all the awards that you have won. Okay, so next thing is setting up reminder workflows. So this is very simple. We just set up 2 reminders, which is emails, and the 2 types of reminders, SMS and emails. So the reminder timelines are this: like 3 times before the webinar, like when they sign up, they get an email and SMS, and then 24 hours before they get an email and SMS, and then 3 hours before they get an email, and then 30 minutes before they get an SMS. Okay, so this allows us to get really good conversions. Like we get show up rates up to like 16%, like consistently we get 16% show up rate on the webinars, just by having these 4 reminders go out before the webinar. And then after the webinar is completed, we send these emails out. So 3 hours after the webinar is completed, we just let them know, hey, the replay is up, you can go ahead and watch the replay. You can just put the replay on a drive, or you can even put the replay on a replay page. Let's say you just create a page where you just upload the webinar recording, and then you just send people there, and below that you have a button which sends people to the Stripe checkout, right? As simple as that, right? So that's something that you can do. And then 24 hours after you send them an SMS, 12 hours later you send them an email, 6 hours later you send 6 hours before the cart closes you send them an SMS, and then 1 hour before the cart closes you send them an email saying that, hey, the card is closing, you can go ahead and buy this particular offer before the replay is gone, right? So the card closing basically means that you're not going to keep the offer forever, right? The offer, let's say you pitch the offer today, the card closes for people to get inside of that particular offer the next day midnight. So that's why and that's why we close the card. The reason is because if people think that this offer is particularly available every time, then they're not going to buy now, they can buy anytime, right? So you want to make sure that after the next day you close the card, you close the checkout page, so that people cannot go ahead and buy. So this makes the offer exclusive for the webinar. You can also say that if you have been selling the webinar for a while now, let's say you have like 50-60 members inside of the offer of yours, then what you can simply do is just you can open up slots only on these webinar dates, and at the same time you can give them a particular discount. So for example, you have been selling this particular program for $3,000, but then only on the webinar days it's going to be available for 2K, but then later on it's going back to 3K. So if yes, you can definitely buy it at 3K, but then you can buy now and save $1,000 if you invest now before the cart closes, right? So that's the whole ideology. So over here we have got 9 touch points with them, along with the webinar, which is like 1.5 hour or 2 hour long, 2 hours long, where all of this builds up the credibility, builds up enough proof that you are a really good coach, you can actually help them achieve it, and they can go ahead and buy from you. Okay, so the next thing is running ads. Now graphic ads is pretty easy to create. Okay, now all we need is 3 graphic ads for any kind of webinar. The graphic ads are going to be very simple for us to go ahead and create. It's the topic will be just the title of the webinar. You put it on the graphic. You have already created the topic of the webinar, so all the 3 graphics will have that, but with different angles. So in one webinar you can just type in, if you want to go out of this particular pain, go ahead and join my whatever name of your webinar. Okay, and then you can create 3 variations, like talking about 3 different problems. So for example, affiliate marketing, if you're stuck at let's say $2,000, you want to hit 10K with your affiliate marketing, then join our affiliate scale workshop, where I'm going to talk about this particular headline. You just drop the headline, right? As simple as that. So that's how you create 3 graphic ads. And after that comes like, how do you run those ads? You see, all you need is to create lead ads. Now lead ads, you can simply go on YouTube and search for how to launch lead ads, right? And you already have a website, so you just created a registration page, that it becomes your website. You go ahead and just market that through the lead ads that you're gonna start running, right? So simply go ahead and create a lead ad and you're good to go. So here are the expectations for the lead cost. An ideal lead cost is anywhere between $1 to $10. If it's between that, then you are getting really good registrations. Ideally, if you have the registration the cost per lead below $5 or $4, then you are at a really good spot. Okay, for us it's like $1, $2, but then it really depends on the niche and how crowded your market is. Okay, so that's the fourth thing. And then the fifth thing is actually executing the webinar. Executing the webinar is pretty simple. See, all you need to do is just create a Zoom link. And then in all the emails, the reminder emails, you put the Zoom link in every SMS, you put the Zoom link in every emails that you send out before the webinar starts, right? So this Zoom link you can do, let's say you are doing weekly webinars or monthly webinars, you can keep a recurring meeting, you can keep the same link for the webinar, right? Or let's say after this particular webinar is completed, you just change the date of the meeting for the next webinar and use the same link, because what it does, like, it's just in case somebody got inside of your webinar on the first, like this week, and then out of nowhere they just decided to click on the same link after 2 to 3 weeks, they can still go ahead and join your webinar, right? So it's always better to have the same Zoom link. So all you have to do is this: when the webinar starts, go ahead and join the Zoom session, join the Zoom sessions and take the class. People are going to show up if you have set up the email reminders and all of that in the right way. People are actually going to show up, and then the expectation is that 5 to 15% of the people are going to show up for your webinar. For us, it's like we are getting like consistent 16% show up rate for the webinars, but then you can expect like 5 to 15%, like have a lower expectation if people show up. That's amazing. And then be confident in delivering the webinar and don't hesitate in the pitch. That's where most of the sales are lost. So most of the sales, like if you're pitching, if you're doing the stack, most of the people think that, hey, this is becoming very salesy and so on and so forth. See, at the end of the day, you have to keep in mind that you have a moral obligation to go ahead and help these people, right? So if you think that your offer can change lives, you have a moral obligation to go ahead and sell them on your offer, right? If you think your offer actually helps someone, if your offer doesn't help someone, then obviously you're going to be like, hey, yeah, join, or maybe don't join. But then I become really obsessed with having people to join my offers or buy my offers, because I know I can help them, right? At the end of the day, I mean, they need my help because they are stuck at some point. I know I can help them to get out of that zone. So if it's making sense for them, they can go ahead and join now, right? So if you're doing the pitch, if when you're doing the entire stack thing, please do not get hesitant, like, or do not show nervousness, because at the end of at the beginning, definitely you're going to be nervous. I mean, the first time I did the stack, I was like, man, I have to do this every single time. But then at the end of the day, we have to realize that it's a learning journey, right? It's maybe your first time, it's going to be very bad. People are going to drop off in between. But at the end of the day, if you're doing the webinars weekly, the goal is to do weekly webinars. If you're doing one webinar a week, every single week, you are not going to only master the sales part, but you're also going to master your stories, right? The attractive character story, the story on how the vehicle works, right? And all of this, once you master the stories, you become very confident in delivering that, and then you become confident in your own story. So whenever someone asks you something, then you can go ahead and share the story with them, like, because you have been practicing all this while. And similar as a sales pitch, it would be a disaster on the first time, but then later on, once you start mastering it, doing it every single week, and then it's just going to be great after that, right? So execute the webinar with confidence. Also engage people, like I mentioned before, like you have to engage people throughout the webinar. Like, it's not a one-way communication, right? It's like a two-way conversation. So it has to be a conversation, not communication. You do not need to not like a lecture. It's not a lecture, or you're just teaching them something, but it's a conversation. Ask people if they feel the same, or if they relate to this. What are the things that they are facing in this particular problem where you're discussing any part of your webinar, right? Just keep asking people about something or the other. Have people engage in the comment section, type one in the chat, or type me in the chat. Like, keep saying that so that people actually do it. Unless you say so, people are not going to do that. Ask people where they are from when they just join and you're waiting for everybody to join the webinar. Don't just stay silent. Simply go ahead and ask them, hey, where are you guys joining from? Do let me know in the comment section. So when people drop, you can just talk about, hey, I was there this weekend, or maybe I attended an event, it was an amazing place, we had a great time. So you just have all of these kind of conversations in the chat, or you can just ask people to comment something and just give them some kind of value in there as well. So that is how you execute the webinar, okay? And then after you have done the webinar, you have got the recording, just upload it on the webinar replay page, and then just share it, like put it inside of the put the same link on all the after webinar email sequence and SMS sequence, so that you do not need to update like the link, but then you just need to update the recording. As simple as that, okay? And then after the After the cart closes, you can just change the link, right? As simple as that. And then the third step, which is the last step, is repeat the webinar every single week. You see, a webinar is not a one-off thing. We need to run one webinar every single week to not only improve our ability to deliver value, but also to master our pitch. The better we get, the better we close. Okay, and we are not going to get better at closing unless and until we do it every single week, or maybe do it at a repeated time. So let's say you cannot do it every week. You can do it like bi-monthly, right? Just do it bi-monthly. Just be okay with coming up twice a month to do a webinar. You see, even if the webinar seems like it's 2 hours, sometimes it goes beyond that. Sometimes it will be much less than that. But at the end of the day, you have to master. The idea is to master how you're telling the story. You have to master the pitch. Once you have done that, it's only upwards from there. So that's how we go from 1 to 3% conversion rate to 10% conversion rate on the webinar. And the conversion rate basically is that, like, of all the audience that is present at the end of your pitch, how many of them bought. So for example, let's say at the beginning of your webinar, when you started the webinar, you had, let's say, 60 people join the webinar, right? And then when you started the pitch, there were 40 people, and then after you completed the pitch, there were 25 people. So the conversion, let's say three people join, or two people join out of, let's say, 10 people who were there at the end of the pitch, then the conversion rate is 20%. If 2 out of 10 people join your program, so that's like 20% conversion rate. However, if it's not calculated from the number of attendees on the webinar, it's calculated how many attendees were there at the end of your pitch. Okay, so an ideal conversion rate would be 5%. If you crack this, you are doing really good webinar. But then eventually, when you start getting better, you can get to 10 and then 15%. 15% is where you can make 6-7 figures from your webinars. If you're converting at 15%, you're going to make a lot of money. Okay, so that's the entire webinar thing. Now let me know in the comment section if this entire video was helpful for you. But then at the same time, I'm gonna have a gift for you. If you want the link on how like this entire funnel, the email sequences, we have already templatized everything for you. Okay, so if you want the link to this, like, we create all of this inside of this particular platform called Go High Level. Okay, so we use this particular platform to have all the email automations, the SMS and all of that. Now you do not need to have 10 different softwares to send out emails, or create a funnel on, or just create SMS sequences on. So Go High Level is a platform which has already allowed, it's currently called High Level, right? So I come from like, I've been using this platform for a very long time. So it was called Go High Level before, but then High Level platform allows us to have everything in the same in the same CRM software. So we don't need to buy 10 different programs, but just pay $97 per month to this particular software and use every other services like emails, SMS. We can send unlimited SMS emails out there. We have to pay per SMS and email, but yeah, that's like $10. For $10 we can send out like 14,000 emails. For SMS it costs like $0.05 per SMS or something like that. You can go ahead and check the pricing. But then all of this are just included inside of High Level, right? It just costs $97 per month. So if you go ahead and sign up from my link in the description, right, I have already put in my link. If you go ahead and join from my link, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the entire system, which includes the webinar funnel, the emails, the SMS sequences, workflows already created and done for you. All you need to do is just change the wording, change the title, add your image, and you will be all ready for your webinar. Okay, so all the technical parts I have already done them for you. If you go ahead and sign up from my link, I'm going to share the entire template with you. If you already have a Go High Level account, then it's absolutely fine. You can just comment below, and I'm just going to reach out to you over Instagram, or you can just text me on Instagram at Ask Muzahid. I'm going to drop the link in the description as well, and I'm going to share this entire snapshot with you. So this snapshot is basically a link where if I share that link with you, you can go ahead and click on that link. The entire funnel, the emails, automations, SMS automations with all the templates. Everything will be transferred to your high level account in just one click. So that's amazing. If you want that, you can go ahead and reach out to me at Ask Muzahid. Just sign up from my link. I would really appreciate that for high level. And then that's my affiliate link, just so you know. Okay, in the comment section I have already added that, and I'm going to give this entire system to you absolutely for free. So let me know in the comment section if this entire video was helpful for you for this entire crash course, and let's dive inside of the next thing that we did for the day. Okay, so just like I mentioned, this is just the first time that we just share the next step clarifications for. And then for LM we did a deep dive, like, so for they had a deep dive query. So let's go inside of day 16. Let's go to day 16. LM. Okay, so yesterday we did a deep dive on him, and we figured that this particular client has a faith-based offer. So he's in a really interesting niche. He helps people deal with addiction from a faith perspective, right, from biblical perspective, right. And then his offer wasn't converting very well, so what we did was I just shared with them to add the price of the offer on the ad copy itself, because what most of the people think, that if it's a faith-based offer it must be free, right. So that's why I suggested add the price on the ad copy itself, so that people know that this is not free. It costs $197, right. By just doing that we are going to get results. But I think he had a lot of questions. So here are the questions. The first question that he asked was, can we offer one lesson for free to build trust? So what he was saying is that let's do a trial. People can try the first video. If it works for them, they can go ahead and purchase our offers. Now this is something that we already did for one of our clients in GLSS, and it did not work out at all. Okay, it was a disaster. And it was a paid paid trial of $1, where people paid $1 for a $499 program, and then they would get access to the entire program for like 7 days, right. And that was a disaster. It did not work out. We spent like a lot of money, but it did not work out. That was also from client's perspective. They wanted to try it, but then that's why I suggested let's not do this. And then is the price affecting the conversion? So most of the that's why I mentioned, like, when we were not mentioning the price on the ad copy, right. So most of the people were getting shocked when they came to the landing page to find out that a faith-based offer is actually not free, right. So that's why I said yes, and the pricing is calling people off. If we can reduce the price, that would be great, but I think the $197 is also going to work out. Then can we add a payment plan for this? So what I thought was, like, for $197 program, payment plans we have already added before for different offers, but it did not work out because $197 is not a big amount for people to split into payments. They can pay now if they're convinced. So we had already tried that. It did not work out. It was a disaster. So unless and until it's like it costs more than $297, we do not put a payment plan. Okay. And then the fourth thing was, he might not have time to take the sales call, so we suggested that we are going to shift the funnel to sales calls and convert the program, $197 program, to a $3,000 program. But then he said no, he does not have any time. So I asked him, can we get a closer to do the closing for him? So we are waiting for a reply. And then he said, he asked something that results in advance idea is something that Myron Golden talks about, right. So he shares that, hey, Myron is a really good coach around business principles and how to grow a business, right. So he suggests that we have to provide value in one way or the other, right. And what he uses, like, since I'm a student, I know what Myron says and what Myron suggests us to. And what he would say is, like, create community service content. So community service content is basically just social media content that we put out on YouTube or Instagram, right. And that's how we can provide value. So definitely we need to provide value so that they can get some kind of results in advance. But then it doesn't have to be like from our program, right. We shouldn't give our programs lessons as a community service content. Yes, we can make long form content which is really valuable, just like I'm making this one. If you got value from the webinar, just type me in the chat, right, in the comment section, if you got value from that. So all of these videos are really valuable. We can create this kind of videos and we can still give people value, right. So that they can get some kind of results in advance, and then once they choose to work with us, they are going to go to the next level, right. But it doesn't have to be our service that we offer absolutely for free. That would devalue our services or programs worth if we are offering that. But at the same time, we have to understand not everybody is ready for our program yet. They can just go ahead and watch a particular YouTube video, go do webinars on their own. For example, this one, you can take all the lessons, do the webinar on your own, and when you start getting some kind of results, you are ready for the next level, then we can work together and take it to the next level, scale the ads, and so on and so forth, right? But then at the end of the day, the service based community service content that you put out on social media can really help individuals. So definitely we can do that. The next let's go to the next one. HD. So for HD we had a strategy shift. She was having a course of $297 that was converting really well, but eventually what it did was it started going down because of all the ad costs and so on and so forth that was increasing. So she suggested that she wanted to move to a call funnel and raise the price of this particular program to $3,000. So we are doing a strategy shift to convert that offer into a high ticket program, and we can sell that on a call. So we are making the shift on the sales page to make it a call funnel instead of a course funnel. And then for GW we did a deep dive today. Let's go to day 7. Yep, here we go. So for GW, the CPC is $1.76 euros, which is pretty good actually. And the landing page views is like 275. We got 10 opt-ins but no purchases, right? So the ads are performing very well. We don't need to change anything. So for this particular offer we spent like $734. We did not get any sales. So the opt-in rate is lower than usual, so is the purchase rate. So opt-in rate is like 3.6, for the ideal is like 8 to 15%, but then for the purchase rate it's 0. So that's really terrible. So what I suggested was alter the checkout page and relaunch the ads. So I just suggested that we add like individual modules below what they get, so that we can increase the stack size so it looks like they're getting a lot. And then we are gonna relaunch the ads for the next 10 days, and we're gonna see if we are getting any sales. However many days it takes to cross. Also, like, her offer is like $500, so we want to spend at least $500 to figure out if we are getting any sales, right? So I just said that whether it's 10 days or however many days she is okay with spending $500, we can do that. And then pivot the checkout strategy. What I suggested was to do a split test. A split test basically means we check 2 variations and figure out which one of those variations is getting the most conversion. So for variation 1, we suggested that keep the checkout on the sales page itself so that they can go ahead and put their card information and purchase the particular course on the same page. And then second variation would be to get them to a separate checkout page, right? A separate checkout page where they first opt in on the sales page and they go to a separate checkout page to complete the purchase. And then we are going to relaunch the ads and check for a sale for the next like within 10 days to see if we get any sales. Okay, so this is what I suggested for them, for this particular client, to improve our numbers. And then let's go to the final one for today. The final one was a PF's strategy shift. So let's go to D12 PF. We had a strategy shift. So we will move towards this funnel for her again, book a call funnel for her as well. We are going to have like a sales page and then confirmation page, and then we are also going to have a checkout page for $2,297 downsell. So when people go on a call with us, and then we are going to pitch the 2K offer. But then if they do not have the budget for it, we are going to sell the present course that we have got, just the course without the coaching calls, at $297, right? And the client suggested some copy for the new offer. We just went ahead and we are going to do that because everything looked great for me. And then there's a clear transformation there in the copy, and the stack looks good as well. So we are going to do that for her. So I just gave a high ticket brief, offer shift brief, because we are converting the course funnel into a call funnel. What I suggested was just duplicate the entire funnel to create the copy of the funnel just in case we decide to circle back. So for example, right now we are changing the entire strategy to a call funnel, right? But then later on, if we choose to sell the course as well, we can sell that because we have duplicated the funnel and not made the changes on the same funnel, right? And then second step was to tweak the funnel. We need to replace the opt-in form with a calendar, and then tweak the copy throughout the page to have people book a call. So like all the call to action buttons will be book a call instead of buy the course, right? And then on the application we just asked 3 questions, so I suggested these 3 questions for them. How much do you spend on your cards monthly? So for this particular offer, they are in the business of flying business class, right? So they help people fly business class, just when their cards monthly spends are really high, so they can use the credits to book business class tickets. Okay, so the cards that I thought for these spends was 2k to 5k, 5k to 15k, so that we only get people who are qualified for us, right, on the call. If they are not qualified, if they are spending less than that, they are not going to get enough credits to go ahead and book a flying business class ticket. And then the second thing was, well, how often do you fly every month? 2 to 3 times, 3 to 6 times, because again, if they're not flying that much, they wouldn't value our offer. So all of this qualifying questions allows us to go ahead and just select the qualified person and get them on the call. Otherwise it wouldn't make any sense for us to waste time into someone who is not flying very often, or they are spending very less and they wouldn't be a qualified client for us. And then finally, how much are you willing to invest in mastering a point system that gets you business class tickets as and when you desire? So 3k to 7k, because our offer is $3,000, $2,000, right? So if we are getting people who had this kind of budget, definitely they are going to be very qualified leads to even buy a 2k offer, right? So all of these questions that I suggested for them. And then for the checkout pages, we are just going to have a downsell page, and then we are going to have the coaching program checkout page for $197 offer. Now all of this we are going to be delivering on the call itself. So when the prospect shows up on the call, we are going to take the deposit on the call itself, so that we do not lose the sale. And then strictly offer the downsell only after the prospect tells them they do not have the $2,000 budget as well, which is not going to happen, because over here they are going to select $3,000 to $7,000 as the minimum criteria to even book a call. So they are going to have the budget for 2k, and we would never have to sell a $297 offer. But most of the people, most of the sales people, if they're not experienced, what they do is they simply go ahead and pitch the downsell as well, so that they get some kind of commission from it, right? So it's really important for us to strictly only offer the downsell to the people who do not have the 2k budget, right? Strictly. And then our minimum budget criteria to even book a call is 3k. When we get a few sales initially, we can move towards increasing price to 5k. And what I have seen in this particular niche is that people also sell $10,000 offers. So this really has some potential, and I think this is going to be really valuable. This entire strategy shift is going to get us a lot of sales, and the ROAS is going to go through the roofs. So yeah, definitely. I hope this entire video was helpful to you. Let me know in the comment section what was your best takeaway. For me, the entire takeaway was for me to just go ahead and jot down the webinar framework that we use particularly. And again, if you want the entire system in just one click, go ahead and sign up for high levels from my link. If you sign after you sign up, send me a message on Ask Musahid on Instagram. I have put the link on the description as well, and I'm going to share the link with you so that you can go ahead and get this entire offer inside of your entire framework, entire email sequences, funnels inside of your Go High Level account. But if you already have a high level account and you still want it, just DM me. Okay, I'm more than happy of sharing this with you. I'm not going to charge anything. This is absolutely for free. Okay, so I hope this entire video was helpful. Let me know in the comment section. Do subscribe if this was helpful, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Till then, keep creating for a change.